Hey everybody, welcome back to the Indigitous podcast. Today we're going to be talking about art and how a comic book artist uses his art to spread the gospel and start conversations and get people thinking about things about God. So joining me today is John Creed. And John, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much, Jeremy, and thank you for listening to Indigitous podcast. I hope that, and I pray for a nice conversation today.
So can you just start us off by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you came to know God?
I'm actually right now I'm married, so I'm married to a beautiful worship leader. I get to know her in our church, and right now I'm a full time illustrator. I became a Christian, the Christian who knows Jesus personally in a personal way. Back
Yeah.
2015, so I was invited in a church. Then I thought that church is just singing, and then you're just listening, boring stuff. But when I try to understand what really Jesus did in our lives. You know, it totally blown me. It changed my mindset, and then just it didn't happen one day actually. So the first time I was invited in the church, uh, I enjoyed the preaching. It actually touched my heart. But then that didn't change me at all. I still doing sinful stuff.
Yeah.
And then the person who invited me approached me again, and then that's the time that I when the pastor asked me to, if there's anyone here who wants to surrender their lives. I just raised my hand. I came forward in front of the church, and then Lord, I'm all yours. Use me in whatever ways you can use me. So yeah, that's the story of how I became a Christian. And yeah, right now I'm doing illustrations to simplify lessons in the Bible.
That's a great story, and it's a good reminder that something as simple as inviting someone to church can have a huge impact. Because now,
Yeah.
not only did it change your life, but now, as we'll talk later about what you're doing with your illustration and how that reaches
Mm,
other people, you look at all those people that are being reached because of that invite that you got back
mm,
in
yeah.
2015. So it all comes back to a step of faith that a friend took to invite you. So that's really great.
Yeah, just like what you said, Jeremy. It's a simple thing that you just invite. It's not even personally. He just chatted me, and then
Yeah.
something strange, or maybe that's the reason. Uh, I mean, there are things in this life that didn't happen accidentally. There's no accident. There are no accidents.
You obviously do a lot of great things with your art, with your comics and other illustrations. How do you first get into art?
Ever since I was a kid, I started drawing. I remember my dad scolding me because instead of writing notes in school, when I was in grade school, I drew to the notebooks instead of writing the lessons.
Yeah.
Um, I consider myself as a visual learner.
Hmm.
So if there are no pictures or drawings in a specific book, it bores me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a visual learner, and I started as copying drawings from other illustrators. Then later on, after high school, we have a test here in the Philippines where the government actually uh, gave you a test to prove or to check if what is the best course suited for you before you go to college.
Mm.
And I took that test, and then it's actually architecture, so that's the reason why um, I go to an architecture school. During those times, it actually improved my skills in drawing. So
Mm.
I didn't just learn traditional drawings. I also learned watercolors. Any types of art mediums. I've tried that during my college days. It just happens that I improve, and praise God, because there are right now there are actually tutorials in different platforms like YouTube, where they can teach you, or they can give you some tips in creating a good artwork, to be specific. And then, yeah, as a visual learner, sometimes I want to share something. I think a lot of artists are expressionalists.
Mhm.
So, but they try to say something in a way that it is visual, and I think I'm like that. Whenever I try to draw something, it's actually me trying to express myself, or me trying to share something. It gives me some peace of mind. Whenever you're stressed out with work during that time, yeah, um, with studies, with a lot of schoolworks,
Mhm.
um, I go back to my bedroom and draw something. Before, I actually drew some animes, some
Oh,
anime
cool.
stuffs. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I started this career in drawing and illustrating.
A lot of artists, when they're starting off, they kind of copy other artists, and that's kind of where how you start because you don't really have your own style yet. But then in time, they sort of developed their own distinct style, and I think you have one because whenever I see one of your comics in my social media feed, I instantly know it's yours before I even like finish scrolling. Like as soon as I see someone, I'm like, oh, there's one of John's. So how did you develop that style?
I think one important factor also uh, that helps me to create my own style is consistency.
Mhm.
Artists, we are adaptable uh, when it comes to drawing. We can do watercolor, we can do uh, oil-based painting, or we can do any types of art if you're an artist. But having a distinct design, or having your own a specific art style, is actually consistency actually plays a major role for that. It develops, but you need to be consistent.
Mhm.
Like in my drawing, it didn't happen actually overnight,
Right.
but when I decided to myself that this is actually something good, or this is something that I want to be known for. And that once you have decided that it is the style that you want, then you have to be consistent to it. You have to ensure that this type of art is actually your your signature.
So somewhere along the line, you went from being an artist to someone who uses his art for a specific purpose, who uses art to
Mm.
share the gospel, to teach people about God, to get people thinking about God. So how did that happen?
As I mentioned before, that artists are expressionalists.
Yeah.
And when I became a Christian, there's something in your heart that wants to share what you experience, right?
Yeah.
Uh, the overflow of love that you have received from God. You want that love not to be wasted. So you tend to share it. But how, as an artist, the only way I can use to share that love is actually through drawing, because That's the that's the only thing I know how to share myself. I'm not good in speaking. If you talk to me in person, I'm just a funny guy. I used to joke around,
Hmm.
something like that. But when it comes to drawing, that's the time that I can express myself, um, in a way that people can understand me. The first time I became a Christian, I didn't use drawing to serve God.
Hmm.
I actually serving drinks in our church. So
Okay.
consolidating people, praying for the people,
Yeah.
and I've enjoyed doing that. Um, because you're full of yourself. You want to do something from God to advance His kingdom. You
Hmm.
want this person, for example, there are people that doesn't know God yet, and that when they experience God, um, they will feel fulfilled. They will feel at peace, the same peace that you experience. Them to happen. You want that to happen to them, and there are people who will reject you
Right.
along the way. I remember myself doing evangelism to strangers.
Hmm.
If you're familiar with the bridge gospel, you
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
y- y- yeah, I do that before to strangers. I actually get rejected a lot of times,
Hmm.
but I try to shift my strategy. Maybe this doesn't work for me since I'm really not good in speaking. So yeah, there are things in life that God will make you realize something, and maybe if this strategy doesn't work for you, maybe you can try another one, something that you're actually comfortable. And in this case, I'm comfortable sharing myself using illustration, and praise God because at the same time I'm doing something enjoyable, and then sharing uh, the gospel. So it's like hitting two birds in one stone.
I'd love to know more about your process for creating the art that you do. Like, is there a certain way you do it each time? Like, you start with a certain theme, or you start with a truth about God, or just maybe you're feeling. You said there's a lot of expressionism. Like, maybe you're just feeling a certain way, and you're like, I need to convey this feeling. Like, how do you go about
Mhm.
doing that?
The first task that I did is doing devotional. That's the basic rule in our church. If you became part of our church, you need to learn devotionals.
Yeah.
So I wrote some journals, but everything that I shared online is actually my devotional.
Hmm.
So, for example, I remember drawing a comic in my journal where trying to explain what tithes is,
Right.
what will happen if you give this to this person, or what will happen if you give this part of your blessings to God. Instead of writing it in my journal, I drew it.
Hmm.
So it became a comics where even myself, I understand it. Whenever I'm confused, what was the purpose of this, I look back to my journal, and you will see the drawings that I did um, for the past years, and then I will understand. Yeah, this is the meaning of tithing. Um, it's not just for the church. It's actually for the people around the church who sometimes the people in the church don't have work. They just doing the work of God. It always starts with your heart. You're
Yeah.
overflow with love, and you want to share it. And the only way that I can express it is through my drawing. So
Hmm.
I try to sketch this thing. For example, if you're familiar with the story of the rich young ruler, there are points there
Yeah.
that people miss. For example, why did Jesus didn't reach out for the rich young man rule? He just allowed the rich young ruler to walk away, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I try to apply that in my life,
Mhm.
in a way that I can understand. So when I do that during devotional, I try to illustrate why did Jesus didn't follow the rich young ruler if his purpose here in earth is actually to reach out the lost. And as a Christian, I have those thoughts that it challenged me to think that what why did Jesus that? And in order for me to understand that is to illustrate it. And then when I illustrate it, I try to apply it in my life. Why there are people in my life that even though I share the gospel to them, they just walk away.
Mhm.
So you know, it gives me some sense of peace that using illustration helped me to um, produce an idea to share something to the world.
God gave us all specific gifts and interests and passions. And when we find a way to use those in a way that glorifies God, that's going to be something that's probably where we'll be most effective. It's also where we're going to be happiest and probably most fruitful. And just,
Yeah.
you're not doing something completely different, like, okay, I guess I have to go out on the street and talk to strangers. Like, maybe you do. And
Mm.
some people are great at doing that, but for you, it could be like, no, I'm going to play open mics. I'm going to bring my guitar and
Mm.
sing some songs. Or it's going to be, I'm going to put a comic out there that's going to share what I'm
Mm.
feeling, and finding a way to use those things that really matter to you.
Mm.
You have a new book, and apparently it sold out in 2 days. So you need to print some more. But it seems like there's people are excited about it. Can you tell us about your book?
I have a book. It's called Created by His Hands.
Hmm.
So the book consists of different types of handiworks, like,
Hmm.
for example, glass making, metal making, or metal works. I'm trying to help understand uh, how God created us. So, we are created by His hands. When God created the heavens and earth, He used His words, right? So,
Yeah.
but when it comes to us, He used His hands, and
Hmm.
that tells us that we are actually important to God. That He used His hand to create us. It's more like a personal level. In a personal level, His palm actually touches our very skin. So
Yeah.
that's the main point of the book, and I try to relate that on God creating us. For example, in woodworks, you try to finish the wood in order to have a smooth surface, just like God. He's trying to finish our attitude in order for our attitude to be smooth, and there are also some other handworks there, like sculpting. God is sculpting our souls, something like that. So yeah, my book is already in the market, but we're going to print it again.
Okay.
Praise God that people are excited for the book, and I'm praying that people will also inspire the way um, God inspired me by those handiworks.
Looking forward to seeing it once it's reprinted, and we'll get a copy, and I'm sure a lot of other people will as well. There's probably a lot of people waiting for the next batch.
Thank
Um,
you, thank you.
so you said that for any artists out there that by using their art, that's how they can make an impact. And
Mhm.
so for any that are just getting started, maybe like, okay, so I'm kind of new to this. I've never used my art to talk about God or to share God in
Mhm.
any way. Do you have any advice for someone who's just getting started?
Improve yourself for the Lord,
Yeah.
because you don't know when when will God open the door, right? So
Hmm.
when you improve yourself, it's like you're preparing yourself so that when that time happens, when God opens that door, and God will ask you, "Are you ready?" You
Yeah.
have something that you can answer with, right? For
Hmm.
for any artist out there, try to draw. Improve your drawing. For example, you're good with watercolor. Improve your skills in watercolor. You can do, I don't know, watercolor in the wall. But yeah, yeah, there are other stuff that will make you unique, and try to improve on that specific artwork. God will open the door when of course when he 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 wants, or he when he knows it is your time, when your attitude is also um, already prepared. you know um, there are other things you need to consider, but always improve yourself, improve your character, because as an artist, there are people out there who will criticize your art. There are also people who will, people who don't know, who will make some criticism about you,
Yeah.
not actually about art, about your art, but about you. So improve your heart.
Hmm.
Always make sure that you're doing your art for the Lord. Um, I don't know if you heard about this phrase, an audience of one.
Yeah.
So always make sure when you do something, you do it for the audience of one, which is the Lord.
Hmm.
It's actually good to receive some compliments with other people, but there's nothing more fulfilling than receiving the compliment of God. So yeah, try to improve yourself, improve your character, and everything. Improve your understanding, also for the word. If try to study the word as well. If you can enroll to a theological school to
Hmm.
improve your understanding in the word. Actually, I'm trying to plan for enrolling in a theological school in
Oh
the
wow.
future.
Okay.
In order for me to understand the word more, and to help me share or illustrate the word for others. To simplify the stories and lessons that we have in the Bible.
John, thanks so much. I love getting to talk to you and hearing about something that you're really passionate about,
Mhm.
and I love the work of yours that I've seen, and it seems to really engage people well and get
Mhm.
people's interest. And I think your book selling out in 2 days is probably a reflection of that. That something you're doing, the
Praise God.
Lord is blessing, and I pray that He continues to do that.
Praise God. Praise God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this interview, Jeremy. You know, uh, I am trying to, like what I said, improve yourself. Right now, I'm improving my skills when it comes to speaking to someone. So I'm actually an introvert. I enjoyed actually doing things alone, to be honest.
Thanks so much. And for people who want to know more about you and your art and your book and all of that, I think you have a website. Where should people to go to find out more?
Yeah, just search in any platform: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Architect Euclid. So it's like an architect, but in I don't know, architect. Yeah, I don't know, but it's architect Euclid.
We'll put it on the
In a
screen.
way, yeah.
It'll be right here if Brandon puts it there. If not, it's in the comment section.
All right.